A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning, with the house. I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms. Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately.
How about that?
I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral. In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked. Maybe she thought I'd know, or she thought that the mystery would be enough to bring me back. No one had driven this way in a long time, but I saw a few hoof prints.
Good deer.
The truth is, even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it. But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to. The house was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it. As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words.
You was spying on me? Oh, buttload of them.
Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house. I hoped the key might unlock the front door. It didn't. Looking in, I felt like the house itself had been waiting for me.
Real creepy.
Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11.
Yeah.
The power had been turned off the night we left.
Thanks for telling me. Tennis ball.
For the first time in years,
20 characters.
I felt like I was home. But instead of a family, there were just memories of one.
So much to feel so. What a great
Like how only one restaurant would deliver to our house, so we had Chinese a lot.
Ooh.
Or how after Louis started working at the cannery, we all got sick of eating salmon. Except our cat, Molly. The table was still a wreck from the night we left. It was like a bomb had gone off, killing everyone but sparing the furniture.
I remember those plates.
My mom was the only one of us who could imagine Great-Grandma Edie living in a nursing home. Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just too much of it, like a smile with too many teeth. Even the fireplace had a story. Edie told me the bricks came from the original house, after it sank.
Sinking house. Sounds interesting.
Mom always told me to stay out of the basement, so I wasn't too surprised when the key didn't fit. Great-Grandpa Sven built a music box for Barbara, along with the rest of the house.
I remember seeing one of them. Not like that, but I've seen one. Back in France.
A lot of things got left behind in the whirlwind of that last night. My mom wasn't much of an optimist, but she never stopped believing that my brother Milton was alive.
Guarantee you did. truth. Upstairs now? Yep. Interesting.
After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie
Yeah.
retaliated and drilled peepholes.
I see the doors are blockaded up. First off, I'm gonna come over here. Just so you know. I'm gonna wait. Come in here first. Okay.
As a kid, I just assumed every house had peepholes and sealed rooms you weren't allowed inside of.
I wonder whose bathroom this is. A lot of books I see. I wonder if their father or uncle is a writer or something.
Whenever people ask me about my family, the first thing they always want to know about is Barbara.
Sounds like that famous person that screamed.
Edie's father, Odin, built the original house.
Barbara was a child star for 2 years, until America grew out of it.
Wait, before I go up there, I want to go back that hall that way.
I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room.
I wonder why.
I think my mom
Sweet.
sometimes regretted not sealing it up.
Why? It's just freaking an ocean, bro.
Lewis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him.
Probably not. Okay, I was wrong.
Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets. Now it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of.
I mean, after all this, I'm gonna go to...
From the paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me.
Wonder if he got lost in here and trapped in here and died in here. Okay, that was kind of dark.
Reading
Not gonna lie
this,
to that.
maybe it sounds like I had a plan. But I had no idea what was behind that door.
Another freaking room in here. Wait.
Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead.
Kind of cool. Molly's room.
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat.
Please don't tell me you ate your freaking hamster.
The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it.
Yep. I don't know if you should do that.
Mom, can I come out now?
Sweetheart, it's late. Go to sleep.
She didn't give me food, bitch.
My Halloween candy was all gone.
I mean, there's that guy eating a lot of candy too. Okay, don't go back to bed, I guess. Eat your fish.
I kept eating and eating.
Toothpaste? Ew.
I ate a lot of things that night.
These are plastic, aren't they? Or not? They're probably poisonous though. If it's
Then I
not,
heard chirping outside my window.
oh, birdie, let me go eat that.
It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her. And suddenly,
I was a cat.
I was a cat.
You sure that wasn't poisonous or shrooms or whatever the hell?
I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
Crap, how am I make it over there? Ugh. Okay, that was no way I was gonna make that.
I jumped and I almost got her.
My cat.
I could tell she was getting really tired.
Whoa.
Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird.
Mom, Molly was a cat, wasn't it?
I gobbled her up. And suddenly, I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass.
Yeah, I don't see what's supposed to be going on.
Rabbits.
Where? Let me see the rabbits.
I imagined his face looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit. Then I flew off to find something bigger.
Bigger? What? I mean, I was just...
A mama rabbit.
Where? I don't see it.
She was almost too big to carry. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
Shark! We got to turn into a freaking walrus.
I rolled off a cliff and into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever.
I'm gonna turn into some fish.
I wanted fat, juicy seals.
Come here. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Why does my sound keep cutting off?
I tore off her flipper, and it tasted really good.
Okay, child, you have some problems. Why does my sound keep cutting off?
Grabbed on tight. But I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed.
Yeah, you know.
was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere. I was big, but I moved real quiet. I wanted to stop, but also I didn't.
Belly was rusty. Belly was rusty.
After the last passenger, I was still hungry. And to cross the water, I smelled something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it. I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
Wait, I want to let it go in. Okay, now I'm making myself in. Oh guys, I think I just got myself stuck. What? Nope, no I didn't. Okay. Oh my god. Now that makes me never want to go to our bathroom ever again. Uh-oh, I feel like I'm scared now. I know what's gonna happen.
I got closer and closer. All my stomach started growling.
I'm right above her.
And suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to feed, and we both know I will be delicious.
God. Guess that's how Molly died. Okay, now I wanna...
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have.
Ready? Why is it sitting? I'm gonna guess I just finished everything. Now I wanna
I grew
check-
up looking at Molly's room through the
Molly's
peephole.
gerbil had a tiny bedroom with its own, even tinier gerbil cage.
I feel like I always interrupt that.
Being inside for the first time, I felt like I'd stepped behind a painting.
Can I check in?
I can't describe it, but I felt like some part of Molly was still here.
Probably is. Probably that. Right there. And the cat. Where's the cat? Oh, the cat's probably dead. 11. Right here, a cat. Kicks out the hand.
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly.
Exactly.
I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room.
Her room was like a museum.
For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune. Odin Finch buries the latest victim. On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind. But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea.
Sinking house.
Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island. Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery. His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways. Louis died a week before we left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him.
And then,
Edie gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious. I hadn't thought of myself as Edith Jr. for a long, long time. One summer, they evacuated the island, but Edie refused to go. For a few weeks, she was a celebrity.
When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't.
Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
okay, now I understand the pink bathroom.
There's a secret in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book. Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
Okay. I wonder why the rope's there.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin. and that he never talked about him. I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it. My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom, and he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again, and he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
Sam! Calvin! Dinner's ready! Coming!
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that,
Calvin! I'm not gonna tell you again!
maybe if the wind hadn't picked up, then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother.
Oh.
The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Okay. Can he die? That is funny because every time
Calvin's story
I see
felt
it, I feel
strangely
like I'm falling
familiar.
for myself.
When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
Yep, same here. Except I'm too fat. So. Now my phone went off.
After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room.
Yeah, I'd expect that's there. So, they had a lot of family members that died. And oh, that's cool. Butterfly effect. Secrets are in this room. Question mark. Wait, I wanted to go back. I get to check this out of the room. There's secrets there. And camera rules. Guessing that piece broke or something? Not sure.
Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
I used to ride one of those. That was fun, I'll tell you.
The passages were a pretty tight fit.
I mean,
They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
wait, I want to see what's at the end of this. Knowledge room. We're not
Growing up,
Barbara.
I always thought of Barbara as a child star.
Well, I mean, I guarantee she was. She looks exact. This gives it away. This definitely gives it away. Guarantee. She's the famous girl for screaming.
I never thought about how hard it must have been. Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Yep, guaranteed.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. child star, Barbara was famous for her scream.
I knew it.
Now at 16, she was all washed up. A has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box. And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent.
This is some nice gameplay.
She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman Killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
He ate his family. Oh, this is where he cut his hand. Yeah, I got one to practice swings in. Alright. I guess I have to go a long way. This is a
The old fridge rattled and grew still.
Oh dear!
Oh!
Rick?
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and you're...
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
Why do I still need this? This doesn't look the same. I mean, there's no books everywhere. This thing cooked it. I feel like I should lock the door. Let's turn it off. Let's do this. Walter, you almost killed me.
Walter, are you there?
Walter had vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Barbara turned, saw the hook man, and was speechless. He was quite smashing. And ready he was. He couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
That night, she played her part beautifully. Molly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges groaned. He wasn't moving, but she sensed the story might not be over yet. The hookman had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was... At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Oh dear.
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter? Hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her. Her ear. Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
story was kind of creepy. Kind of know it from those pictures. How should be a fan of screaming.
I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box.
First off, attic.
Mom must have locked the third floor stairs on the night we left.
Well, that's a bummer. I thought I could go up there. Oy.
Mom said the basement was off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot.
Yeah.
I saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages.
I can't see it for anything. I can't.
I thought maybe she was hiding presents.
It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that.
I'm not sure. Give me a second. I gotta change my brightness. I cannot see.
I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone. She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could.
Just lost like, say 4 people, maybe 5 because of
If there's a pattern in all these stories, I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
I guarantee literally everybody but her has died in this whole thing. Guaranteed.
Goodbye, everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years.
30 years.
On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week. But after a few days, I settled into a routine. That's what kept me sane.
You know, routines are freaking okay. You know why?
Having a schedule,
Technically,
living for today.
I had a morning routine every day. Get up.
I always expected to be dead tomorrow.
Pete's.
But if you wait long enough, you get used to anything. Even a monster on the other side of the door starts to feel normal. Almost friendly. And then one day, everything just stopped.
Wait. No shaking? I wonder if the Yeah, I'm gonna get copyrighted.
It's been a week now, the longest in 30 years.
2005.
I'm done waiting. I have to leave while I still can.
Why wouldn't you leave? Question mark.
I know it's out there somewhere.
It's out where?
Whatever killed Barbara and Molly and Calvin. Maybe this is all a mistake. But I need to stop living the same day, even if it kills me.
Wait, there was another tunnel back in there.
Whatever's out there, I want you to know I'm ready for it. I'm going to appreciate all of it, especially the food. I don't mind if I only have a year left. Or a month. Or a single week. I'd be happy with one new day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
Walter died when I was 6. I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here. I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me.
What's a picture of the hookers outside or something? It's a beautiful view.
Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter. But if she never told me about an uncle under the house, I can only imagine what else she was hiding. I don't want to make the same mistakes she made. Trying to bury something that's still alive. Now that there's only one of us left, or maybe two, I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself and found out what happened to everyone else. But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem.
How do I mention how much this actually...
Maybe we believed so much in a family curse, we made it real.
Damn, he died 2 years after his parents.
I don't know if I should even be writing this.
Why writing?
Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me. thought you should know about your family.
Is she pregnant? No, I feel like she is. And it kind of looks like she is. You know, it's just, that's good.
And the history you're a part of.
Yeah, I think she's having a baby or something because that is but she has no family. So
Though to be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now. I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth.
no, it's actually looked like a beautiful spot to fly to. I'm not gonna lie. Especially since you can hear the wind and everything.
And when you look at the house, that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness, any of it seems possible.
I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it.
I only lost 2 people in my life so far.
What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house?